United States, we build houses out of wood. It is tradition. And there's a million reasons besides tradition why it makes sense, but the tradition is a component. I think when the colonial Americans first came over, there was trees right there ready to go. There was not a brick factory right there ready to go. So boom, they got going. And as they spread westward, it was kind of the same story. There's a lot of trees in the U.S. The Northeast was covered. The South was covered. Obviously, the Northwest, where I am, is covered. I know other countries don't completely get it. I spent my senior year of high school in Germany, and I remember towards the end of that school year, one of my teachers was chatting with me and asked me what my dad did, a little bit about my family. I told him my dad was a builder, and he launched into this spiel about how Germans build such better homes because they're brick and they last longer and all this, and how the American, building out of wood was kind of a joke. And I had no idea what to say. I basically sat there and was like, cool story. But I got a lot more thoughts on it now. That's what we're going to be kind of talking about, and we're going to be watching these carpenters build this house. And speaking of these carpenters, in the last video where they were setting the trusses, one of those guys was really interested in the filming and what I was doing with the cameras and such. And between then and now, he has actually started filming his own jobs and putting them on YouTube, and he's doing really well with it. So go give him a click and say hi. I'll put the link below. I'm really a big fan of tradesmen filming their work and sharing it online. There's just so many benefits. Plus, it's fun. It can add a lot of interest to your work and even your career. You just never know what'll happen. Jace has been working on these lookouts. It's basically what creates the overhang on the gable ends, and I have always wondered how that worked, and now that I see it, it just seems super obvious. They just kind of notch the 2x4 down into the top of the rafter, lay them in there, nail them down, and then you got to work all the way around the house doing it on all the gable ends. And this house has a lot of different gables, so it was a decent amount of work. And it's up on ladders and up in the air. They're also putting fascia board on and finishing up some odds and end sheeting while they're up there, wall sheeting that is. But once it's all up, boom, it's time to start sheeting. And on a roof like this, it is a big job. It's hard to tell, but this is a really steep roof. It's a 10-12 pitch, and when you're looking at these guys out there, it doesn't look like much, but I'm telling you, it is a big deal. If you were out there standing on it, you would be absolutely freaking out, let alone having to stand there and carry a sheet up and down and nail them. It's really a good amount of work. I'm pretty excited to see all this sheeting going on because it means the braces down in the house can start coming off. Right now, it's a total log jam of braces that are holding and keeping everything square, plumb, and true. But the sheeting ties all the trusses together and locks everything in place so the braces can come down so we can kind of walk around the house now and get a feel for it. Yeah. Beats good. Check out this tool Manny has for screwing the trusses down. This is a super drill extension. It makes it so he can put all these truss screws in from the ground with no ladder, just walking around and throwing them in. It's got a cool level on it that shows when he's at exactly 45 degrees. I thought it was amazing. If you were doing this regularly, this tool would be a huge time saver. Kind of a cool view here. The front is all sheeted, the back is not. This is the shower rough-in valve, and it was sent to us by Gerber along with all the other fixtures, which you'll see later. The thing I want to show you is I've never seen one of these before. It is massive. It probably weighs, I don't know, at least like 10 or 12 pounds, maybe more, I don't know. But it's huge. And the reason is the bathtub faucet, which is in this box right here, is really long, comes out of the floor, and it's kind of a lever. If people are pushing and pulling on it, it can really pry itself around, and so this valve kind of has to anchor that whole piece down, and boy does it. Jesse brought in a couple helpers to give him a hand with the sheeting, and one of them had this dog, Shadow, and I'm telling you, this was the sweetest dog I've ever met. She was the best. She literally sat on this piece of plywood for like 3 days straight, not moving a muscle. You can see it for yourself in the video. I'm a huge fan. One of the reasons it makes so much sense to build out of wood is that it's a renewable resource. After you cut a tree down, you can plant another one and it will grow, and it doesn't even have to grow to be that big before you can use it. These engineered wood products do best with smaller trees, like this OSB sheeting. They kind of grind it down into little strands and then glue them together. Back in the day, maybe it was a different story when you would cut down like a 200-year-old tree and you just get lumber out of it. There was certainly a time where they were cutting down big old growth trees to get the lumber that people needed. But today it's smaller trees. I think they only take 20 to 30 years to be big enough to harvest. Concrete and steel, not only do they not renew themselves, but it takes a lot of energy to make concrete and to make steel. Wood houses like this can last a really, really long time as long as you keep them dry, which happens from the roof, which we'll talk about in a coming video. But the point is, it's a renewable resource, it's affordable, and that's a couple of the reasons why it's so popular in the U.S. There has been a ton of rain falling on the job site, and then that snow came and it just detonated the site. I mean, mud everywhere. It really is getting bad. When I bought my tractor, it came with these chain treads, and they are completely locked and frozen in place. And I've been really putting this off, but I can't put it off any longer because there's so much mud on the job site that basically, if the skid steer wheel gets stuck, or at least it'll make such a mess, I don't want to risk it. So now is the moment I'm going to face up to this situation and see if we can stretch these out and loosen them up and get them on the tractor. And luckily Dennis is going to help me, but I have a feeling this is going to be a major undertaking. Let's see how it goes. The guy I bought this from estimated that it's been over 20 years since these things have been on the tractor, which probably means it's been 20 years that they've been coiled up in this exact shape. Well, the tracks made a huge difference. I'm super grateful to have them. They actually came with the tractor when I bought it, and I just knew that there would come a day when they would come in really handy, and sure enough, that time is now. Thanks for watching, everybody. Keep up the good work. We'll catch you next time.